say a word in answer to her. In Father Knecht's own homily this morning, I heard he said, Jesus is a jerk. That was a joke. I was going to say something much nicer. I was going to say, God is not nice. Does it ever seem like God's not always real nice? I mean, did you hear the whole gospel? Did I see how much you've been listening? You ever felt that way in your prayer? You pray and you pray and you pray, and all you hear is crickets. You don't hear anything from God. How many of you gone to prayer and you've told your spiritual director, well, when I go to prayer, nothing happens? Raise your hand if it ever feels that way. Yeah, it feels that way almost every day for me for the last 10 years. Nothing happens. Is that true? Oh, there's a lot happening. You just don't always know it. You don't feel it. God answers all prayer. It's just not the way you think he should answer it, and it's not always on your time scale. Thank God that you're not God. He's God. He knows what's best for me. He's my Father. Father knows best. He knows each children better than he knows every hair on your head if you've got any. And he knows what you need and when you need it and how much you need it. And I have to trust that. And so sometimes the answer from God is no. Sometimes the answer from God is not right now. How many of you parents said that to your kids? Sometimes God doesn't answer my prayer, or he doesn't give me what I ask immediately. When I ask for it, I would ask for the keys to the car and says, I want to go down to the grocery store. How many of you are going to give the keys to the car to an 8-year-old? Some of you might. I don't know. If you're living on a farm, you know, you farmers, man, they're driving as soon as they can see through the steering wheel. And then look what he says. And then his disciples, they're jerks too. Look at this. Send her away. She keeps calling out after us. She's my kids here, pain in the neck. But the woman came and did homage. She kept going. This is what I love about this woman. She just keeps going. She keeps persisting. And that's what Matthew is trying to teach us in the gospel today, is how he's teaching us how to pray. Be persistent in your prayer. Keep praying. Don't give up. When it seems like nothing's happening in your prayer, keep praying. Keep interceding for those you love. And miracles will come. Sometimes God withholds his answer to prayer to test our faith, to see how bad we really want it. But she keeps persisting. Then he calls her a dog. Whew, Jesus, he's just not letting up here. Lord, help me. He said in reply, it's not right to take the food of the children. He's talking to his own about his own people, the Jews. It's not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs. Well, she could have easily said that. Then she just comes right back. She's like the ever-ready bunny here. She says, please, Lord, for even the dogs. So she just plays along with him. Even the dogs eat the scraps that fall from the table of their masters. Can you at least give me some scraps? You ever felt that way in your prayer? Lord, can you at least throw me a bone maybe? Maybe a little scrap, please? You ever done that before? Is this just me that struggles with this stuff? But he always answers prayer. And then finally he says, oh woman, great is your faith. Now you have to understand who this woman is he's talking to. This is not a Jewish woman. This is a Gentile. Gentiles were non-Jews. Gentiles and Jews had nothing to do with each other. This Canaanite woman and the Jewish people were ancestral enemies. Everything Jesus does in an accident. Everything Jesus does is with a purpose. Now he's traveling, it says he withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanite woman of that district came and called out to him. Now he's going into Canaanite territory. All right, let me help you a little bit. What part of Omaha would you not find yourself dead in? What part of Omaha would you not even think about going into? Don't say that, answer that out loud. Jesus is going into enemy territory. He's a Jew. He knows the rules. He's not supposed to be going into that district. He goes right into the middle of it because he's not only a Jew, he is the Son of the living God. He is God in the flesh. And in God, there is no fear. There is no fear in God. And what is he doing? He's teaching these 12 knuckleheads that are with him. He's trying to teach them something. He's taking them down. I can almost picture this story. You can picture this story. They're traveling along. They're not in cars. They're walking. It's a 100-mile trip. He went 100 miles to teach them a lesson. He went a long ways just to teach these 12 men a lesson. And I can imagine as they're walking along, they're getting closer to Gentile territory. They're probably saying, hey, Jesus, hey. We're getting ready to go into Gentile territory. Yeah, I know. Come on. We're not supposed to be around those people. Yeah, I know. Come on. How many of y'all want to follow Jesus now? How many of y'all want to be disciples of Jesus? But sometimes Jesus wants to lead you into places in here I don't want to go. What are those? My prejudice, my bitterness. Those two peoples had a lot of bitterness centuries. As disciples of Jesus, what are you in feet work? I tell these men I've given retreats to, I say, hey, ask Jesus, just ask him this question. What are you calling me to do? And some of these guys would come back to me and say, Father Mark, I just can't get myself to ask that question. And I'd say, why? Because I'm afraid he's going to ask me to do something I don't want to do. Aha. So you just don't even ask him at all, do you? Pretty tricky. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and just play it safe. Just go to Mass on Sundays. That's all I need to do. Just go to Mass on Sunday and check that box off. I'm in. How many of us do that? We think of our Catholic faith as just checking a box. Remember Deacon Ralph Poya? Remember a couple years ago he did our Lenten retreat? He said, how many of you as Catholics just checking the boxes off? Went to Mass. What to do. I'm in. Where did we get that from? That's not even Catholic teaching. It's more than going to Mass. It's a willingness to go into enemy territory. I've said this before. I think what we're doing right now, this is the easy part. Coming here, sitting in a nice cushy pew, air conditioner's on, feeling pretty good, except for those darn masks sometimes get to be a nuisance. I think the hard part is when you leave here. You go back into your houses. You don't need, it's just the day-to-day living with each other, right? Living with people. If we just didn't have people, as a joke. This is the easy part, coming here. It's going out there and letting Jesus lead me each and every day through the power of his Holy Spirit to lead me into those places I don't want to go inside my heart. I don't want to look at my anger. I don't want to look at those things in me. I don't want to look at what's at the root of my addiction to alcohol and drugs. I don't want to look at it because it scares me, and that's okay. You see, in today's gospel, Jesus went way out of the way. If you look at where he was going, that wasn't the route. He went way out of his way to get to that one woman. Isn't that amazing? He knew exactly what he was doing. He went way out of the way to teach these men something, to say, I know you're Jews, and I know you think that salvation is only for the Jews, but I'm going to show you something. This is the only time out of Jesus' whole life that he went into non-Jewish territory. Only time he ever did it. But he's also showing them this is what the church is going to be about. The church is going to be for the whole world. And he's trying to teach these men, he's trying to teach us that to follow him, we have to come to him with open minds and open hearts. That God's salvation is for all peoples. It's for all territories. It's not just for a select few. And he's also teaching us that when we do pray to him, when we're struggling, when it seems like nothing's happening in our prayer, he's trying to teach us there's a lot happening. He does answer prayers. It's just on his timetable and in his own way. Jesus goes out of the way each and every day to get to every one of you. Look how he went out of his way. He went out of his way. In other words, he put his life on the line, didn't he? He going into that district, did you know he put his life on the line? He knew going into that district, he may not come out of that district. And he took 12 knuckleheads with him. I call them knuckleheads because I'm a knucklehead. They're ordinary guys. We forget that sometimes. Yeah, they became saints, but they were like you and me. And he's trying to teach them, if you're going to follow me, you got to be open-minded. Because I'm doing something new. Jesus is doing something new today. He always is. And he wants us to look at those people in our lives that we tend to find to be a pain in the neck. Those needy people, those clingy people, he's trying to remind us, how do you treat those people? How do we treat outsiders? Jesus says, what you do to the least of your brothers and sisters, you do to me. So wherever you are today in your relationship with God, whatever you're going through, some of you this morning, maybe you're going through some really hard times, you're struggling, and maybe you're tinkering on losing your faith. There's some people who have lost their faith because they felt like God just abandoned them. God never abandons his children. We're the ones that abandon him through sin. So wherever you are, know that God's with you. Know that God hears you. Know that you are not a bother, you are not a pain in the rump to him. But you're a beloved daughter and you're a beloved son. He wants you to know you're heard. And he wants you to know that he's answering your prayer. And he wants you to know there's no reason to live in fear when you follow him. Because where he's going to lead you, if you let him lead you, where he's going to lead you is into an entire new life. A life full of freedom and full of joy. A life that's beyond our imagination.